Hey reader besties, welcome back to my channel for a fun video of tackling the physical TBR in a fun but challenging way. I've been thinking of ways of how to read my books and get the physical TBR cut down in a fun way that also lets me mood read, and I thought, let's read the rainbow. We're gonna choose a book with a cover that matches a color, and we're gonna go in rainbow order, and we're going to have some fun with it. For our red book, we are reading One of Us Is Next by Karen McManus, and I just read One of Us Is Lying last week, so this is perfect because I've been kind of wanting to go ahead and pick this up, and you know what better way than to start the rainbow reading challenge. This book is following the sister of one of the main characters in the first book, as well as a few other students in her grade and around that age. There is a new person coming out with a game called, well, it's with Truth or Dare, except if you don't choose Dare, this person is going to share one of your secrets. And things get messy, things get deadly, and it feels perfect for a cozy day. We're gonna just cuddle up and we're gonna read this book. We're almost halfway done through this book, and I've realized reading the back cover, 145 pages is we've only gotten this first paragraph in the book. The second paragraph talks about rushing and going back home, and we haven't even gotten to that point. Like, I didn't even realize that was going to be a part of this book. Time is moving very slowly, but at the same time it's flying by as I read it. I think we've only been through like 3 days in this book. Like, genuinely, like, that is 3 days worth of stuff happening in the book. I think it feels very, I don't want to say mature, because like other books aren't mature per se. It's not like easy and fluffy and light kind of book. To read by the river has been so nice. I love it. I've already finished one book and I'm almost halfway through the second book, but today's our last day, so I'm just gonna chill out and read. This book is so heartbreaking, and I'm 240 pages in, and I have a feeling it's about to take a turn that's going to make me cry. Now that I have time to sit down, let's discuss the first 3 books of our Rainbow Reading Challenge, starting with our first book, One of Us is Next by Karen McManus. This one follows the students of Bayview High once again, just from the first book, just a little bit later. Someone is challenging the students of Bayview High to a game of truth or dare, and if you don't choose dare, they're going to reveal one of your secrets. They single out a certain person in the school and give them 24 hours to respond to say that they want to play the game. Students are playing, and after a while, one of them is doing a dare and he ends up dying. So now 3 of our main characters, Maeve, Knox, and Phoebe, are trying to figure out who's behind this game, why are they doing this? Because each of these students pretty much were targeted as well. I did enjoy this book, but the same with the first one, I just feel like it could have gone faster. There's parts of it that I'm like, it just feels like it kind of dragged on a little bit. Just for me personally, 372 pages, and I feel like it could just been shorter. Though I did read it pretty quickly, so it's an easy read, it just feels like it drags on a little bit. There was a plot twist at the end I wrote down in my notes, and if I'm going to be so honest, I don't remember the plot twist. What was it? I remember being like, why? But I don't remember what it is. That's just kind of what this book is. You read it, you enjoy it at the time, but you're not going to think about it in the future. Or you're probably not going to remember what happened as well. For that, I gave this book a 3.5 stars because I did enjoy it. It's just not memorable, it's not fantastic, it's not my favorite book that I've read so far. Moving on, for our orange book we read Between Us by Vari McFarlane. This book follows our main character Rasheen, who is in a nearly 10-year relationship with a screenwriter. In the first 50% of this book we are following the ending of this relationship. The way that the author portrayed Rasheen's feelings and how she was feeling during this time, I think was done very, very well. I did enjoy that. There's parts of it that felt quite relatable and felt very real. But at the same time, I feel like it went by very slowly, which may be the way the author writes, because the chapter will end and the next chapter will pick up right where that chapter ended. Like, there's no time hops. It just felt like, I think the first like 120, 140 pages was 3 days worth of stuff happening, which I found very intriguing. So I feel like that's probably why things went slowly for me, because time was moving slowly in this book. With the first 50% of this book being about Rasheen and Joe, it just did not leave much room for the second romance in this book, which that one felt very quick, very instant, very... I don't know if I should be rooting for these people, especially when we figure out who this person is. Because I knew there was going to be another romance in it, a second chance romance almost, but I don't know if I was rooting for Rasheen and this character, because we learn things about some of their friends and there's like whole situation. I'm like, I don't know if I like them together or not. But I feel like the author did a really good job conveying the heaviness and darkness of a relationship that's not good, it's not healthy. And the way that she wrote about it ending and the way that Rasheen's feelings were, I really did enjoy that and felt that it was very, very real and relatable. Overall, I gave this book a 3.25 stars. So I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. But I am excited to read some of her other books, because I was looking at reviews trying to gather my thoughts and be like, I don't know how I feel about this book. People who love this author say this is like not their favorite. I am excited to read some of her other books because I've heard great things about this author, so I'm hoping that the next one I pick up is better than this one. I'm sorry. And for our yellow book we read As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by this author. I apologize, I will butcher it if I even try to pronounce it. But in this book we are following an 18-year-old girl who lives in Syria. She was studying to be a pharmacist, but as a war breaks out, she is thrown into the life of being a surgeon, and she is fighting some PTSD. She has a head injury, so she's seeing hallucinations manifested in a person who is named Hoff. She is fighting between, do I stay in Syria and help all these people, or do I get my pregnant best friend and sister-in-law, who is 7 months pregnant, out of Syria? She made a promise to her brother and she made a promise to her father that she would take care of Layla and get her out. So she's fighting this of, do I stay and help, or do I keep my promise and leave? As she's working in the hospital, she meets Keenan, who runs in because his sister needs help. And these two characters start to fall in love, and it was done so beautifully because the time that they're living in, it's so dark, it's so heavy, there's so much fear, but this love, this romance that is budding, not only gives these characters hope, but it gives us hope as well. Even though this book has some hard topics, I feel like it's done so beautifully and it gets you thinking, and it just really sits with you for a while. As I was reading this, I felt the heaviness in my chest. I had anxiety at time of what is going to happen. I had the fear of oh my gosh, what is going to happen to these characters? This book is very thought-provoking. It makes you kind of take a step back and reevaluate and look at life. I am so privileged to be where I am now. While reading this book, I felt the heaviness of my chest of the reality of what people have gone through and what people are going through currently. So while this is a heavy book to read, it is also so beautiful, and I feel like you definitely need to read it. I think it was done so beautifully, and the romance in it definitely helped give us hope, give the characters hope, and bring a little bit of lightness to the situation. I really love this one. This one will definitely sit with me for a while. I will be thinking about this one. For that, I gave this one a 4.5/5 stars. This one is definitely up there, and I will be thinking about it, and I think you should definitely read it. 100%. For our next book in the Rainbow Reading Challenge, we are on to Green. So we are going to read Anne of Green Gables. I have had this one on my TBR for quite some time. I've actually never read Anne of Green Gables, but I've been wanting to because I loved Anne with the E, the show, and I just want to read this cute little classic. We are going to start Anne of Green Gables today. A little bit of an update. Our green book, Anne of Green Gables, we got 134 pages in, and I'm going to soft DNF it. I'm not completely DNFing it because I will pick it back up again who knows when. I think because I watched Anne with the E literally 3 months ago, the story is so fresh in my mind that I'm just not I love this story, but I'm not getting sucked in, and I can feel myself starting to get in a little bit of a reading slump. So to prevent a full-on reading slump, we're soft DNFing our green book, and we're going to move on to our blue book because our blue and purple books I'm so excited to read. And I've heard people say if you're about to enter a reading slump, don't read big books. Unfortunately, we have chosen a book that is over 500 pages, 564 pages, but it's a book that I've been so excited to read, and I've heard really good things about it. I don't think I've heard one single bad review about this book, and that book is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and oh my goodness, I'm literally only 3 chapters in, and I love it so far. I feel like this one's going to wreck me. And I feel like this one's also going to help me not be in a reading slump. So I'm really excited about that one. I just got home from work, and our purple book is here all the way from the UK. I'm so excited, so we're gonna open this. Now, because this is a UK paperback, it's gonna be smaller than my first book, so I might have to order the first book from Blackwell's, but nothing like the movies by Lynn Painter. I've been waiting for this book for so long. It's so cute, and I cannot wait to read it. It's so pretty. It's a little bit shorter, so I think either I'll display it like this, or I'll have to get a new one of these, but I love this. Okay, so I finally finished our last two books in the Rainbow Reading Challenge. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I really love this one. I did take my time reading it. I think it took me almost a week, I think 5-6 days to read it. It is a bigger book, but it was one that I was like really enjoying, but there are really heavy topics in it. I mean, it's following two sisters in France during World War II. There are some heavy topics in it as these two sisters are experiencing two very different experiences during World War II. I'm going to read the back because it'll do a better job of explaining the story than I will. The Nightingale tells the stories of two sisters separated by years and experience, by ideals, passion, and circumstance, each embarking on her own dangerous path toward survival, love, and freedom in German-occupied, war-torn France. A heartbreakingly beautiful novel that celebrates the resilience of the human spirit and the durability of women. It is a novel for everyone, a novel for a lifetime. I just really connected with the characters. Like, everything they went through, I felt it. Like, their pain, I felt it. They were crying, I cried. Another one of those books that makes you step back and like think about this time in history and what people went through, because it's historical fiction, but you know, this happened in history. It just like absolutely broke my heart in so many different ways, but also I loved this one so much, so I gave this one 5 stars. And we moved on to a much lighter read, which was good because I needed it, except at the same time this one made me cry a lot as well. But I get very attached to characters. What they're feeling, I feel, and this is a second chance romance that follows Wes and Liz from the first book, Better Than the Movies. If you haven't read that one, love that one. I think I give it like a 4.5. I adored these characters. I like the way Lynn Painter writes. Like, it's just so easy to read. But this is a second chance romance. There's parts that are sad. Wes's story definitely pulled at my heartstrings and what the two characters went through and their hurt. I've seen so many people like, oh, it's too realistic, or Wes and Liz would never. I know, I really enjoyed it. Like, I don't mind that it felt realistic, you know, the pain that they went through. But overall, I enjoyed this one, and I gave it a 4 stars as well. Because again, I had a fun time reading it, I love the characters, and I enjoyed the ending. So here we have all of our books from the Rainbow Reading Challenge, minus the green book since we did soft DNF it. It was such a fun way to get through my physical TBR and just have a little bit of fun with it and switch it up. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and reading along, and if you want to do the Rainbow Reading Challenge, go for it. It's such a fun way to mix it up and get through your physical TBR. It's just a fun little challenge to shake it up. But I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!